There's a unique kind of silence right before a roller coaster drops, a mix of excitement, tension, and surrender. You trust the harness. You trust the machine. You trust that the 1,000 moving parts holding you above the earth are working in harmony. But what happens when they don't? When that click, click, click you've always loved turns into the sound of disaster? Roller coasters are designed to give us controlled fear, a taste of danger with the promise of safety. Yet history has shown that sometimes, the ride doesn't end the way it should. Try this. Next time you buckle yourself in, listen closely, not out of fear, but to appreciate the orchestration of chaos that somehow keeps you alive. That illusion of control vanished completely on a spring evening in 1984. At Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey stood the Haunted Castle, a dark, maze-like attraction built to spook, not scar. But inside its foam walls and plywood hallways, the air was dry, and the safety systems non-existent. On May 11th, a fire broke out inside one of the corridors. It spread fast, fueled by cheap materials, and the very special effects meant to thrill visitors. What started as smoke effects and screams of laughter turned into the real thing. 8 teenagers inside were trapped. In the pitch darkness, they likely thought it was all part of the act. Some even tried to stay in character as the heat rose. By the time park workers realized it wasn't a prank, flames had engulfed the building. It took firefighters hours to contain it. What investigators found later was chilling: no sprinklers, no smoke alarms, and exit doors disguised as props. The tragedy sparked a nationwide reckoning for amusement park fire safety. Codes were rewritten, inspections tripled, and the industry was forced to confront how easily temporary structures became death traps. Even decades later, survivors described the smell of burning foam and the screams that stopped mid-sentence. The Haunted Castle burned for less than 30 minutes, but it redefined how amusement parks treat harmless scares. Try this. Whenever something seems low risk, ask who decided that and what it took to make them realize they were wrong. From fire, we move to metal, the mechanical marvels that twist and dive at impossible speeds. Even perfection can falter. At Universal Studios Japan, one of the park's signature rides, the Flying Dinosaur, took thrill seekers on a wild, inverted flight through the air. Riders dangled beneath the track, suspended like superheroes soaring through the sky. But on a warm day in 2018, a mechanical fault froze one of the coaster's trains mid-inversion. Dozens of riders found themselves hanging upside down 50 feet in the air for nearly 2 hours. No one was seriously injured, but the psychological impact was unforgettable. The videos of people suspended, feet kicking helplessly, went viral worldwide. Engineers later found a fractured axle component, worn down over time, a small part responsible for massive consequences. It was a reminder that even with daily inspections and cutting-edge technology, metal fatigues, sensors fail, and humans miss things. Thrill rides are built to flirt with danger, not marry it. Try this. When something feels routine, whether in work or life, remember safety thrives on attention, not assumption. But no accident shook the modern amusement industry quite like the one that happened at Alton Towers in the UK. The Smiler, the world's first 14-inversion roller coaster, was meant to redefine thrill. It looked like a tangle of steel spaghetti, twisting in on itself like an optical illusion. On the 2nd of June 2015, during what should have been a routine ride, something went catastrophically wrong. An empty test car had stalled midway through the track after a previous shutdown, but the operators, misreading the data and eager to get the line moving again, cleared another full train to launch. The ride's sensors meant to detect blockages had been manually overridden. As the second train roared into motion, it accelerated into the same section and slammed head-on into the stationary car. The impact was brutal. 2 passengers lost their legs. Several others suffered life-changing injuries. The ride's twisted structure turned rescue operations into a nightmare, with medics forced to climb through the wreckage. The aftermath was pure chaos, shock, confusion, and disbelief. How could this happen on one of the most advanced roller coasters in the world? Investigators determined that human error was at the heart of it. Procedures had been ignored, safety signals misread, and assumptions made under pressure. Alton Towers faced one of the largest fines in UK amusement history, and the event led to sweeping operational reforms. But perhaps the hardest truth was this: the Smiler wasn't undone by technology, it was undone by overconfidence. Try this. Before making a quick decision, ask if you're rushing for speed or for certainty, because they rarely coexist. From high-tech failure to a tragedy that hit closer to childhood comfort, another reminder that not all danger wears a warning label. Disneyland Paris, 2013. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, the runaway mine train ride was packed with families, laughter echoing through its tunnels. But in the middle of one routine run, a decorative rock from the ride's faux mountain broke loose. The fiberglass boulder, weighing hundreds of pounds, smashed into one of the rear cars. One man was killed instantly, and several others were injured. It was the kind of accident that felt impossible at a Disney park, the gold standard of safety and illusion. The investigation revealed that the rock had been improperly maintained, a routine inspection missed. The entire attraction closed for months while safety protocols were rewritten. It was a stark reminder that even the most family-friendly rides depend on the same mechanical vigilance as the wildest coasters. Try this. Never confuse comfort for safety. They often look identical until something breaks. But few stories capture both the horror and the heartbreak of preventable tragedy like Japan's Fujin Rijin II disaster. It was May 2007 at Expoland, Osaka. Fujin Rijin II, God of Wind and Thunder, was a steel stand-up roller coaster loved for its speed and precision. That morning, the first train completed a loop, and then catastrophe. One of the axles snapped cleanly in two. The car derailed mid-curve, slamming into the safety rail. A young woman in the front row was killed instantly. Others were severely injured as the train scraped along the track for several agonizing seconds. Investigators discovered the axle had a visible crack, one that had likely been growing for years. Expoland staff admitted they hadn't performed a full inspection in over a year. The manufacturer's guidelines had been ignored, corners cut, and complacency accepted as normal. In a nation that prides itself on precision, this revelation caused outrage. The tragedy didn't just end a ride, it ended a park. Expoland closed permanently soon after, its reputation destroyed. For the victims' families, the apology came too late. The legacy of Fujin Rijin II became a parable in Japanese safety culture. When you do something right every day, you stop thinking it could ever go wrong. Try this. When you feel invincible in repetition, pause. That's when danger slips through. And for every story we've covered, there are hundreds more you'll never hear. Minor collisions, near misses, malfunctions caught just in time. The public rarely knows how often operators prevent catastrophe by inches and seconds, but every tragedy leaves behind lessons, rewritten safety laws, new technologies, and thousands of invisible changes that make your next ride safer. So the next time you're strapped into a coaster, about to drop into chaos, remember, it's only thrilling because others made sure you'd survive the fall. The scariest part of any roller coaster isn't the drop, it's realizing how fragile control really is. And that's the paradox of thrill. The more we chase danger, the more we depend on people we'll never meet to keep it just out of reach. If you made it this far, maybe you like stories that balance fear and fascination. Stick around, subscribe, and buckle in, because the next ride might just be the wildest one yet.